Discover the incredible true story of a boy who, with empty hands, built a billion-dollar empire. In a crumbling Rust Belt town, Jake Thompson learned to fight for his dreams, even when those dreams seemed as fragile as the broken glass that littered the streets. At just 15, he navigated a world where the fading echoes of factories whispered stories of loss. Jake's mother worked multiple jobs, tired but unwavering, to keep food on the table. Her hands, calloused yet hopeful, shaped his understanding of resilience. His father returned from war, a living ghost, his silent scars etched deeper than any words could convey. This was their life, hard but filled with a stubborn kind of love. Every day, Jake roamed his neighborhood, turning rusted scrap into delicate trinkets. From bent metal to twisted wire, he salvaged forgotten treasures, his heart swelling with pride at each creation. Clutching his makeshift wares, he ventured door to door, showcasing his handcrafted gems while receiving nods of affection from neighbors who understood struggle. They were as worn as the streets they lived on, sharing sparse meals of ramen and dreams that hovered just out of reach. Each sympathetic glance lifted his spirit, fueling his unyielding fight against the odds. Jake held no illusions. He yearned for more than this gray existence. His encounters with local business owners often ended in laughter, mocking the ideas that bubbled up from his restless mind. Yet a retired veteran, eyes brimming with stories of his own battles, saw potential in Jake that others overlooked. "Don't let them silence you, kid," he'd say. Jake clenched his fists, frustration igniting a fierce determination. He was torn. Loyalty to a community that cheered yet dismissed him, and an unquenchable thirst for a future that flickered like a faraway star. Then, fate intervened. As Jake's heartfelt ideas burst forth into viral fame, an influential investor soon caught wind of his persistence. The town buzzed with whispers, pride mingling with envy. But as the prospect of success loomed large, Jake felt the weight of his roots pulling at him. Was he destined to abandon the family that sacrificed everything? This tension coiled tight in his chest, the echoes of home whispering, "Remember where you came from." Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The choices before him transformed into an impossible puzzle. The laughter of the town echoed louder, questioning if he was worthy of success despite the shadows left behind. Jake steadied his breathing. He wanted to scream that his success wouldn't come at the expense of his loyalty. The people who shared his dreams were still here, still fighting. As he stood at that crossroads, his heart raced with a heady cocktail of ambition and responsibility. Would he choose the money that promised a swift escape, or the ties that bound him to home? Jake felt the weight of a billion-dollar dream resting heavy on his shoulders. But would it eclipse the love of the family who believed in him when the world didn't? The answer clung like the fog over his town, impenetrable, yet hinting at whatever lay beyond. And there he was, the boy with empty hands, teetering on the edge of everything, dreams sparkling like shards of glass, poised to either pierce or illuminate his path ahead. Jake's mind whirled as he paced the small front porch of his house, the wooden planks creaking underfoot like a heartbeat. The sun dipped low, casting a warm glow across the quiet street, where children laughed and played, a symphony of innocence amidst too many struggles. He watched them, memories flooding back of better days when his laughter blended with theirs, when he was just another kid chasing dreams as simple as catching fireflies. The thought of leaving his family behind clawed at his heart. His mother's weary smile, the quiet pride in her eyes, and the sacrifices she made every day to give him something better weighed heavily on him. He was their hope, their light in a town that felt like it was constantly shrouded in darkness. Yet the call of ambition rang louder, whispering sweet promises of success, freedom, and the chance to change not only his life but the lives of everyone he loved. Jake, His mother's voice cut through the turbid waters of his thoughts. She emerged from the kitchen, hands wiped clean but showing traces of flour from a batch of bread, a staple of their sparse diet. Dinner's almost ready. Her tone held warmth, but there was a hint of worry etched into her brow. You okay out there? He forced a smile, nodding. Just thinking, Mom, about everything. Thinking can be good, she replied, moving beside him, her hand grazing his shoulder. Just don't think too much. You need to remember to take care of yourself, too. The sincerity in her voice cracked him open a little further. He didn't want to disappoint her. Surely pursuing his dreams wouldn't mean abandoning his family, right? He could forge a path that brought them along, not just cast them aside like old newspapers crammed in dusty corners. He sighed, watching the way the sun illuminated the small patches of grass as if it were inviting him to step forward. Mom, what if I could make it big? He started, testing the waters. Her eyes widened with anticipation, then softened with concern. Jake, no dream is too big as long as you remember where home is. Just promise me you won't lose sight of what really matters. It was a promise he desperately wanted to keep. But as news of his online success spread like wildfire, reaching beyond the borders of his tiny town, a different reality tugged at him. Investors, flashy media, and offices filled with polished floors beckoned him. Could he navigate that world and remain grounded? Or was that glimmering empire ready to swallow the boy who had sprung out of the rubble? He nodded at his mother, feeling the lump in his throat. Promise. But deep down, Jake wrestled with echoes of doubt. He could already see it. Pristine suits walking through the dust of their neighborhood, the sound of laughter morphing into whispers of envy. Could he become the hope he wanted to be? Or was he destined to create a chasm between himself and the people who shaped him? The days rolled on, and with each sunrise, Jake felt both energy and inertia. Ideas bubbled inside him, threatening to spill over as he scrawled sketches for new designs. But what if those designs launched him into a world that orphaned him from his own roots? There was a flicker of determination in his heart. Tomorrow, he'd visit his childhood friend Ben, who had never wavered in his belief that Jake could make anything happen as long as he stayed true. As the stars began to twinkle overhead, Jake turned in, sleep elusive, wrestling with questions that felt as vast as the universe. Could he harness his success to lift his family, or would he navigate the unknown waters alone? And in the shadows of that thought, a very real possibility lingered. What if success wasn't just about rising high, but choosing to rise together? The morning would bring clarity. Yet, in the depths of his restless heart, the simmering promise of change beckoned him forward, hinting at a crossroads that could alter everything. The promise of a choice. The sun peeked through the curtains, brightening Jake's room with a gentle glow. He rubbed his eyes, trying to shake off the heaviness that had nestled into his chest overnight. Today was the day. He had to go see Ben, face his fears, and share what was stirring inside him. After a quick breakfast, he grabbed a notepad filled with ideas and sketches, fragments of his imagination, and headed out. The air felt crisp, the kind of fresh that invigorated a person. With each step, he pushed aside doubts, focusing instead on the single goal, finding a way to bridge his dreams with his family's future. Ben's house was just a few blocks away, a place drenched in nostalgia. The paint was peeling, but it held memories of laughter and adventure, a sanctuary in their childhood. As he approached, he could see Ben in the backyard, tossing a soccer ball into the air, that same carefree grin plastered on his face. "Jake!" Ben shouted, his voice carrying a hint of excitement. "You made it!" Jake felt his shoulders drop as he stepped into the familiar territory. "Wouldn't he miss it, man?" The two friends exchanged a quick embrace before settling down on a couple of old lawn chairs, the grass soft beneath them. Jake could feel the relaxed atmosphere, but the weight on his heart pushed him to speak. "Ben, I've been thinking about everything." "Yeah? The whole success thing?" Ben leaned in, eyebrows raised. "Exactly." Jake hesitated, knowing he was about to lay bare his soul. "I'm scared. My designs and ideas are gaining traction, and it's like a tidal wave ready to pull me under. I want to make sure my family is taken care of, But what if it changes me? What if it changes us? Ben studied him for a moment before nodding slowly. It can. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Change is part of growing up. It's how you handle it that counts. Jake scribbled some random notes on his pad, drawn and shaken by Ben's honesty. But what if I end up losing sight of everything I care about? What if I become the person that everyone envied but no one loved? Jake, listen. Ben shifted to face him. Everyone goes through it. The key is to remember who you are. If you keep your heart close, bring your loved ones into your journey, you won't lose them. You'll rise together. Jake's heart raced. Was it that simple? Could he invite his family into his dream instead of casting them aside? It clicked in his mind like the final piece of a puzzle. There was a way forward that didn't mean sacrificing his roots. What if I start something here with them involved? Now that's more like it, Ben exclaimed, slapping Jake's knee. You're on to something. What if you put your designs to use in your community? Give jobs to your family and friends. The excitement surged through Jake like a bolt of lightning. He could see it a workshop in town, a place buzzing with creativity, light streaming through the windows as their laughter filled the air. I could collaborate with them. We could create something meaningful together. Just then, a gust of wind rustled the trees, and Jake felt something settle in his heart. The fear, once overwhelming, began to recede, replaced by a glimmer of hope. Still, a question lingered between them, unspoken but waiting to be acknowledged. Was he ready to take that leap? I need to talk to my mom, Jake said. She deserves to know what I'm thinking. It's time to share my vision with her. Ben grinned. There's the Jake I know. Go show her the dream. But remember, it won't be easy. Dreams take hard work, but you'll figure it out. Jake nodded, determination igniting a fire inside him. As he stood to leave, a curious thought sparked. Would embracing change come at a cost? What would happen if he truly shared everything with his family? And as he walked home, the flame of possibility burning brighter within him, Jake couldn't shake the lingering uncertainty. Would they support him, or would it lead to a rift he desperately wanted to avoid? Jake's heart raced as he approached his home, the familiar white picket fence swaying slightly in the afternoon breeze. Each step felt heavier than the last. The weight of his aspirations collided with the reality of his family. He paused at the door, taking a deep breath, letting the crisp air fill his lungs. His mom loved to cook, and the smell of her signature chicken soup wafted through the open window, a welcome reminder of comfort and warmth. Just as he was about to turn the knob, hesitation gripped him. What if she didn't understand? What if she worried? It was one thing to dream big, but to bring those dreams home felt like a risk, one that could lead to all kinds of worries he didn't want to face. With a swift tug, he opened the door. Mom, I'm home. Hey, sweetheart. Her voice was bright, a melody that instantly soothed his racing thoughts. How was your day? Jake made his way to the kitchen, where she was stirring a pot on the stove. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow around her. She turned, wiping her hands on a dish towel and beaming at him. You look a little different. Everything okay? Yeah, he hesitated, taking another deep breath. The words were right there, dancing on the tip of his tongue. I've been thinking about my future and I want to tell you something. Her smile faded slightly, replaced by a mix of curiosity and concern. Oh, that sounds serious. Sit down with me for a second. Jake sat at the kitchen table, running his fingers over the notepad filled with ideas. He could feel the weight of her expectations, the invisible thread tying him to the family history of stability and caution. Mom, I want to start a workshop, a place where I can use my designs to create jobs for our community and bring the family in on it. I want to change things, get everyone involved. Silence stretched between them like a taut wire. She blinked, processing the revelation. A workshop? Like making furniture? Or, clothes? Anything. Everything. I just want to create something bigger, where we all can work together. The excitement surged again, pouring out of him. Imagine it, Mom. Laughter, creativity, our family making something meaningful. We wouldn't be just a regular family. We would be building something that matters. He watched as layers of thought crossed her face. Her brows knit together, a sign of her trying to grasp the full picture, the potential. Jake, that sounds wonderful. But how will you support all of us? It sounds risky. A flicker of doubt crept up inside him, but he pressed on. I know it's a risk, but isn't everything worth it? Life is full of changes. It's what we do with them that makes the difference. I don't want to lose you, or anyone, in chasing this dream. I want to lift us all up. Tears shimmered in her eyes, and he felt a rush of vulnerability. Oh, sweetheart, Jake reached across the table, gripping her hand tightly. I promise I will make this work. I just need your support. I want to involve you in every step, every decision. We can figure it out together. She exhaled slowly, her heart clearly wrestling with the tumultuous waves of hope and fear. I just don't want you to get hurt. This isn't an easy path. A small smile crept onto her lips, and he felt a spark ignite between them. I know, but I can't sit back and let life happen to me anymore. I want to chase this dream first and foremost with you by my side. As the two sat together, Jake felt a shift, like the room brightening with possibility. He knew this journey would come with its challenges, but at that moment, they shared something profound, a glimpse of a shared future filled with hope. Yet, as his mother's eyes filled with tears, another question loomed in Jake's mind. Would their bond truly withstand the trials ahead? Mom, are you with me? He ventured, hoping for her reassurance, but fearing the answer. Would her love truly support him in this uncertain journey? Jake held his breath as his mother glanced away, the glimmer of tears in her eyes reflecting the turmoil within him. He squeezed her hand tighter, searching for strength in her response, an anchor amidst rising waves of uncertainty. After what felt like an eternity, she nodded slowly. I support you, Jake. I really do. But let us promise each other something. She took a deep breath. Promise that if it gets too hard, if you feel like you're losing control, you'll talk to me. No hiding. No pretending everything's okay. Relief washed over him, followed quickly by the weight of her expectations. Promise, Mom. I don't plan on hiding. I want us to tackle everything together. Her smile returned, fragile but brightening the room just a bit more. Then let us start making plans. What do we need to do first? Jake felt a flutter of excitement at her words. First, I need to research where to source materials. I want to see what our community is looking for. Maybe we could hold a community meeting? Yes, that is a great idea, she replied, her enthusiasm infectious. The neighbors would love to share their thoughts. Everyone has a little creativity in them. What if we have a workshop day? Bring them together? Her eyes sparkled at the thought, and for the first time, Jake could see the beginnings of a dream forming in her mind, too. Their minds danced back and forth, sharing ideas like a rhythm, a partnership humming to life. But we'll need a space too, Jake added, his mind racing. Place we can call our own. Maybe we could use the garage? It's big enough and it could become our workspace. His mother's smile faltered for a moment. The garage? You mean everything would need to go out there? That would be quite a change. Yeah, it might be a little messy at first, he admitted, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. But imagine the potential. We could even paint the walls, decorate it, make it feel like home, a creative space where everyone feels welcome. She pondered for a moment, the twist of uncertainty coming back to her face. I just worry about it being so open. Our lives, our home, it's supposed to feel stable, safe. I don't want to risk that. Jake's heart sank at her hesitation. He leaned back in his chair. I get it, Mom. Change is scary, and I don't want to rush you into anything. But think about it. It could be the start of something amazing. We won't lose what we have. We'll just be adding more to it. She studied him, a myriad of emotions playing across her face. In that charged moment, he saw the remnants of her own dreams trying to surface, the flicker of her once glowing spirit reigniting. All right, she finally said, holding his gaze fiercely. Let us do it together, but slowly. One step at a time. We can clear out the garage this weekend and see what we need. Jake's heart swelled. "Thank you, Mom. I won't let you down. You'll see." As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows in the kitchen, they started brainstorming ideas for the first community meeting, pulling out sketches and notes. The warmth between them radiated hope, filling the space with a comfortable energy. Yet even in this moment, a nagging thought lingered at the edge of his mind. Was the world outside ready for this dream? And what challenges lay ahead that he couldn't yet see? "Just promise me one more thing," his mother said suddenly, looking pointedly at him. "If things ever start to unravel, you'll let me be there with you, no matter how hard it gets." Jake nodded swiftly, but inside, he felt a shiver. "You know I will, Mom. I'll fight for us." And as they dove deep into their plans, the smell of chicken soup still filled the air. But beneath it was the scent of something new, a burgeoning hope that perhaps dreams were truly within reach. However, doubts lingered just beneath the surface. What obstacles awaited him? And would the strength of his family be enough to weather the storms ahead? The morning sun broke through the kitchen window, casting a golden glow over the scattered papers filled with ideas and sketches. Jake could hardly contain his excitement. Today was the day they would tackle the garage. He pulled on an old sweater that smelled faintly of fresh paint and stepped into the world outside. "Ready?" he called to his mom, who was gathering supplies. She appeared with a determined smile, a trash bag in one hand and a broom in the other. "Let us do this." They approached the garage together. The door creaked as it opened, revealing a dim space cluttered with years of accumulated belongings. Old bikes, boxes long forgotten, and toys that had outlived their use. The sight made Jake's heart race. This was more than just a cleanup. It was the first step towards their new beginning. "All right, let us divide and conquer," he suggested, feeling the thrill of possibility. "I'll tackle the right side if you take the left." "Deal," she replied, her eyes sparkling with renewed spirit as they began sorting through the clutter. Memories tumbled out with every box Jake opened. He chuckled at an old baseball glove, envisioning days spent in the yard, his mom cheering for him. But the glimmering nostalgia was often eclipsed by the weight of the moment. Each item they decided to keep or toss felt like a decision about their future. "Jake, do you really think this will work?" his mother asked suddenly, glancing at a dusty picture of their family from years ago. The doubt in her voice almost broke him. It was the same uncertainty that had crept into Jake's mind during the late hours of the night. "Mom, I believe we can make this a hub for creativity, a place where people feel they belong," he insisted, his voice steady but soft. "We've been through tough times before. This is just another challenge we can face together." She nodded slowly, taking in his words. "When you put it like that, it feels a bit less daunting." After a few hours of hard work and laughter, the garage looked more organized. Walls that felt trapped by shadows now began to breathe. Dust lay in layers, mingling with the excitement of new beginnings. With each box they cleared, the vision of what was to come sharpened. "Can you picture it?" Jake said, stepping back to admire their progress. Bright colors on the walls, a big table in the center, maybe even a chalkboard for ideas. This could be where our community comes alive. His mother looked around, absorbing the transformation. "I can see it, Jake, I truly can. But we'll have to ensure everyone else on board. Not everyone else going to be comfortable sharing their ideas openly. What if they don't want to participate?" "That's okay," Jake replied, energizing her doubts with his optimism. "We'll build trust first. Maybe start small with a few neighbors we know. Once they see how much fun it can be, others will follow." As they loaded more trash bags into the back of her car, Jake felt a swell of pride. Sure, there were unknowns on the horizon. He knew not everyone would jump in right away. But this was about creating a safe space, a launchpad for new dreams. They had to start somewhere. With the garage nearly clear, they stepped back outside to catch their breath. The fresh air invigorated them. His mom turned to him, something unspoken lingering in her gaze. "Let us promise something, Jake. If someone pushes back, or if doubt creeps in, we'll lean on each other." "Okay." "Absolutely," he assured her, his heart fluttering with hope. "No matter what happens, But as they stood there, his mind raced ahead. What if their community didn't embrace the change? What if their dreams were met with resistance? Mom, he hesitated. What happens if let us not think about that right now? She interrupted gently, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. One step at a time. Remember our promise. Jake nodded, but for the first time all morning, a flicker of anxiety settled within him. As shadows stretched across the driveway, he wondered if they were truly ready for the journey ahead. And just as they were about to head inside, a car pulled up, one he recognized. It was Mr. Johnson from down the street, an unexpected visitor. What did he want? Did he come to join the adventure, or was trouble brewing on the horizon? Jake felt a mixture of anticipation and apprehension as the familiar gray sedan came to a stop. Mr. Johnson stepped out, the sun glinting off his signature cap. He was the sort of man people turned to when they needed advice or a helping hand, but lately, he'd been talking less and keeping his distance. Jake, hey there, can I have a word? Mr. Johnson called, his voice booming despite the distance. There was an edge of something serious in his tone, and that made Jake's heart race a little faster. His mom exchanged a look with him, her smile faltering. Why don't you talk to him while I finish here? She said, gesturing toward the growing pile of trash bags. There was concern in her eyes. She trusted Mr. Johnson but felt an automatic shield when confrontation knocked on their doorstep. Jake nodded, hesitantly making his way through the scattered remnants of their former lives. Hey, Mr. Johnson, what's up? The older man shifted uncomfortably on his feet. Listen, I heard about the garage project you and your mom are working on. I think it's a great idea. He paused, chewing his lip thoughtfully. But I just wanted to make sure you realize it might not be easy. What do you mean? Jake asked, trying to keep his tone steady. We've got a plan. We're ready for small steps. Mr. Johnson sighed, the weight of his words heavy in the still air. It's not just about the space, it's about the people. Sometimes change makes folks uneasy. You know how it is in this neighborhood. He gestured towards several nearby homes. People like their routines. Jake felt his optimism crack slightly. But it doesn't have to be that way. We're creating something fun. He was proud of his vision, but doubt began creeping in like a chill. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, son, Mr. Johnson replied. Just don't be surprised if some don't warm up to it right away. Community takes time. Trust takes time. Jake swallowed hard, trying to shake off the distant murmur of potential rejection that suddenly loomed large in his mind. What if it doesn't work? He murmured, voice barely audible. What if they think it's a waste of time? Mr. Johnson placed a hand on Jake's shoulder, emphasizing the weight of his words. Look, when I was your age, I had an idea, a crazy one, just like yours. It took years to gain traction, to prove people wrong. But when they saw the passion, they came around. Just keep pushing forward. You're doing something special. Jake looked up, searching Mr. Johnson's eyes for reassurance. Was he really prepared for this? To put his heart out there and risk it getting hurt? Mom thinks I can make a difference, he said slowly, the words emerging with practiced confidence. I want to create a space where everyone feels like they belong. That's a beautiful thing, Jake. Just remember, it's a journey. Show them what you can do. Maybe host a small gathering here first, something low-key. Let them see your vision without pressure. Jake considered this, his resolve hardening a bit. Like an open house? Exactly. A chance for everyone to see the change and feel part of it. Mr. Johnson smiled, the warmth of his encouragement washing over Jake. You've got this. Just believe in it like I believe in you. As Mr. Johnson waved goodbye and walked back to his car, Jake felt a spark reignite within him. Maybe uncertainty was part of the process. Perhaps, even in the shadows of doubt, there lay the potential for light. That he returned to his mom, feeling slightly buoyed yet still holding onto the weight of the man's words. What did he say? She asked, brushing her hands on her jeans. He thinks we should start with something smaller, maybe invite the neighbors over for a preview. Jake explained, watching her face shift from concern to pride. He's right, she nodded thoughtfully. An open house could ease them in. We can show them what we envision together. Out of nowhere, a flash of inspiration struck Jake. What if we hosted a get-to-know-the garage picnic? We can lay out the plans, and maybe even have some art supplies for everyone to draw their ideas. His mom's eyes lit up. I love that idea. It'll bring the neighborhood together, make them feel involved. Jake grinned, his heart racing at the excitement of new plans. Let us do it. We can set a date for this weekend. But just as they were swept up in their new momentum, that flicker of worry surfaced again. Would the neighbors accept their invitation? Would they participate or show up at all? Jake's mouth tightened in uncertainty, the thrill overshadowed by what ifs as they began to gather what they had organized from the garage. Jake couldn't shake the thought echoing in his mind, were they truly ready to take that leap into the unknown? And as he watched his mother outline plans for their special day, he noticed a figure in the distance, another neighbor, arms crossed, watching them. What were they thinking? Would this be one more voice of doubt? Or was it the beginning of an unexpected ally? Jake's heart pounded in his chest as he caught the neighbor's eye. The man, Mr. Peters, had lived next door as long as Jake could remember. He was the type of neighbor who kept to himself, grunting in reply whenever Jake waved hello or engaged him in small talk. Today, though, he stood rigid, his posture tense, definitely not the reaction Jake had hoped for. Who's that? His mom asked, breaking his gaze away from Mr. Peters. That's Mr. Peters, Jake replied, his voice barely above a whisper. He doesn't usually, reach out. There was a knot forming in his gut, and he couldn't shake it as if sensing their attention. Mr. Peters finally uncrossed his arms and took a few steps forward. Hesitation hung in the air before he finally called out, "What's this gathering about?" Jake straightened, ready to defend their project. "We're planning a small picnic to show everyone our ideas for the garage, to get the neighborhood involved." His voice carried an eagerness, but behind it, he felt the tremors of anxiety that Mr. Peters squinted, his expression unreadable. After what felt like an eternity, he muttered, "Sounds like a waste of time to me," and turned on his heel. Jake's heart sank. Those words cut deeper than he had expected. He glanced at his mom, whose encouraging smile had dulled, replaced by a frown of disbelief. She opened her mouth to say something, but the words didn't come. "Maybe it is a waste of time," Jake said, his voice strained. "What if no one else shows up? What if Mr. Peters is right?" "Jake," his mom replied softly, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "The first step is often the hardest, but you can't ignore the possibility that some people might embrace it, too. Not everyone is like Mr. Peters." She saw the doubt settling into Jake, like a shadow creeping across the sun, and continued, "There will be some who don't understand right away. But remember what Mr. Johnson said? You have to show them the passion behind your idea." She took a deep breath, her expression firming up with renewed resolve. "Let us make it a day they won't forget. Bring snacks, games, and that art idea you had. It'll speak louder than just words." Jake nodded, wading through the layers of uncertainty wrapped around him. "Yeah, maybe we can get a leap of faith from some of the others, show them what the space can be." With revitalized determination, they dove back into the preparations. They spent countless hours that week scrubbing the garage, rummaging for decorations, and picking out go-to snacks. As Saturday approached, excitement replaced fear, and Jake imagined the laughter of neighbors and the chatter of shared ideas. But the night before, the doubts flooded back. The clock ticked loudly in his room, echoing the panic in his mind. He crawled under his covers, staring at the ceiling as visions of empty chairs filled his head. What if nobody came? What if it fell flat? It was one thing to put himself out there, but risking embarrassment was a whole other game. As early morning light broke, Jake got up, pacing back and forth. None of this felt ready. A sudden thought caught his breath. Maybe it was too soon for some people. He burst into the living room where his mom was setting up the last details. "Mom, what if it doesn't work? What if no one comes?" His mom paused, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Honey, focus on what you can control. If you prepare with love and authenticity, you've already succeeded." Jake looked at her, searching for inspiration in her steady gaze. Perhaps success didn't have a single definition. Maybe just showing up was enough. As he grabbed the last few items and loaded them into the car, he felt a warmth spreading inside him, a flicker of hope once more. But as they drove down the street, turning to wave to neighbors, Jake noticed a few cars already parked in the driveway. And then he spotted Mr. Peters again, standing off to the side, seemingly engaged in conversation with another neighbor. His heart raced again, but this time it was different. Was it suspicion or curiosity? As they approached the garage, Jake's nerves began to tingle with the electric charge of potential. Would Mr. Peters surprise him, or would the shadows of doubt linger just a bit longer? With every person arriving, Jake's stomach fluttered. Could he manage to turn this gathering into something beautiful? As he opened the garage door, ready to face whatever lay ahead, a flicker of doubt arose again. Would it truly change anything? All he could do was take that first step and hope for the best. But deep down inside, he knew one thing: the adventure was just beginning. The moment Jake opened the garage door, the scent of freshly baked cookies mixed with the earthy aroma of grass hit him like a wave. Laughter and chatter spilled into the air, vibrant and warm, wrapping around him like a hug. The sight before him was astonishing. Neighbors filled the space, their smiles brightening up the once dreary garage. His mom stood nearby, her eyes sparkling as she greeted people and offered snacks. She was in her element, embodying the encouragement she had given him just a short while ago. Jake stepped inside, his heart racing in time with the ambience around him. "Hey Jake!" Tiffany from down the street called out. She waved enthusiastically, her curly hair bouncing. "I can't wait to see what you have planned." Jake's throat felt tight. Would he live up to their expectations? He swallowed the lump and forced a smile, nodding. The earlier doubts began to fade, even if only slightly. People were here. They really showed up. As more neighbors trickled in, he spotted Mr. Peters lurking near the back, watching. His arms were once again crossed, a frown creasing his forehead, but something about his stance seemed less hostile, more wary. A flicker of determination surged through Jake. "All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming," Jake called out, a nerve-wracking tremor of excitement running through him. He clutched the edge of the table, steadying himself. "We've got some ideas to share about the garage. And I promise, it's going to be fun." A few chuckles erupted, and he felt the tension begin to dissipate. Games were set up, and together, they started creating banners and art, filling the walls with vibrant colors. Jake watched as a few neighbors joined in, laughing and sharing stories of their own memories in the neighborhood. He caught sight of Mr. Peters again. For the first time, the man seemed to be loosening up. His arms were uncrossed, and he even exchanged a few words with Mrs. Johnson, who was busy hanging garlands. Jake felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could turn this into something special. Moments later, they gathered around to brainstorm ideas for the garage. Jake threw out a few suggestions, emboldened by the energy in the crowd. "What if we make it a community space? We could host movie nights or events." Everyone nodded, throwing out their own suggestions, voices overlapping in excitement. Jake's heart swelled, fueled by their enthusiasm. He looked at his mom, whose face beamed with pride. Then, unexpectedly, Mr. Peters stepped forward. The murmur of conversation silenced. All eyes fell upon him as he cleared his throat. "I thought this was a silly idea," he started, his voice gruff yet quieter than before. "But seeing you all together, maybe it's worth a shot. I wouldn't mind lending a hand." Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. The corners of his lips twitched into a smile, doubt giving way to possibility. He could hardly believe what he was hearing. Mr. Peters, the man who had always kept to himself, was opening up. "Thanks, Mr. Peters. That would mean a lot," Jake responded, his excitement bubbling over. But as the day progressed, Jake realized something. Even amidst the laughter and the flickering hope, an undercurrent of tension still existed. Within the warm camaraderie lay unspoken fears, doubts, and old grudges. Not everyone was convinced this would succeed. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, shadows elongated, and Jake took a moment to reflect. Would this gathering be just a fleeting moment of connection? Or could it bloom into something larger, something enduring. A breeze ruffled through the garage, bringing with it whispers of unfulfilled dreams. He sensed it deep in his bones. The adventure wasn't over. Just then, the door creaked open, and a familiar face stepped inside. It was Mia, the girl from school who always seemed to float through the hallways, effortlessly blending in. Jake's breath hitched. Had she come to check it out, or would this be the chance he needed to share his vision with her? The air thickened with anticipation, and Jake's heart raced again. Maybe this was the connection he had been looking for. What would Mia say? Would she join in and help him take the next step? Would this day evolve into something that truly changed everything? As the sun dipped behind the horizon, casting a warm glow through the garage, Jake felt a transformation ripple through the air. It wasn't just about ideas anymore. It was about people, their laughter, their camaraderie, and even the uncertainty that lingered among them breathed life into the once neglected space. "Hey Jake," Tiffany called out again, her excitement infectious. "Let us hear more about your ideas for this place." Jake stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through him. "Okay, everyone, this is just the beginning. We can turn this garage into a creative hub where we can make art, host events, and build connections together." As he spoke, he saw nods of encouragement. Smiles glimmered in the soft light, and hope flickered like the flames of candles scattered around the edges of the garage. One by one, his neighbors chimed in, tossing ideas into the air like confetti. Storytelling nights, DIY workshops, and food potlucks that would welcome everyone. "Let us hold a community art day each month," Jake suggested, his heart racing. "Anyone can drop by, bring their ideas, and create together. Could be a space for everyone to share their talents." The crowd cheered. The smile on his mom's face radiated more light than the sun. Then, as if summoned by the dawn of a new possibility, Mia stepped closer. Her voice rang clear. "I'd love to paint some murals, brighten up the place. Wouldn't that be amazing?" "Yes." Jake beamed, his spirit lifting higher. "You could bring so much color and life to the walls. We can all pitch in too. Everyone has a little creativity to share." An unexpected buzz coursed through the room. It wasn't just hope anymore. Joy was mingling with the air, tending to the fragile uncertainties that had haunted Jake. Mr. Peters nodded, encouraging others to join in too. "I always wanted to learn how to make furniture. You think we could set up a carpentry corner?" he asked, eyes flickering with a hint of enthusiasm. "Absolutely," Jake exclaimed, his voice rising. "We'll embrace every talent. Everyone here counts." Moments after that, the joy became tangible. It felt like fireworks, a celebration of dreams igniting. Yet, just as the excitement peaked, Jake caught a glimpse of doubt flickering in the corner of Mr. Peters' eyes. But even with great ideas, he cautioned, what happens when the hard work kicks in? There are real struggles ahead. Jake felt a ripple of worry wash through him. What if this momentum faded when reality knocked? He took a step forward, courage filling his chest. "Mr. Peters, you're right. There will be challenges, that's a given. But that's why we're a community. We'll help each other, shoulder the burdens together, celebrate the wins, and rebuild after the losses." Cheers erupted again. A veil of uncertainty began to lift. It was becoming clear. Together they could weather storms, while also embracing the sun. As he turned to the crowd, he saw faces lit with dreams, doubts slowly fading away. Hope threaded through them, stronger than ever. Would they stumble? Yes. Would they face disagreements and struggles? Certainly. But Jake felt ready to plunge into any challenges with his neighbors beside him. Mia approached him, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I think this could be something bigger than we ever imagined. I believe in it." Her sincerity struck a chord in him. Jake's heart soared, a true moment of connection. A deep bond forming with not just his friends, but a whole community. With renewed determination, he declared, "Let us do this together. Our journey starts today. We are stronger united than we ever could be alone." As they all cheered, a wave of energy pulsed through the garage. A tangible feeling of support, unity, and love enveloped them. The day faded into night, filled with laughter and creativity blossoming around the garage. Jake looked at each familiar face and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. In that moment, he understood success wasn't just a billion-dollar dream. It was about connection. It was about lifting one another. As they sat in circles, sharing stories, ideas, and laughter, Jake realized this experience was transforming the shadows of doubt into beams of light. Change was here, and they were ready to embrace it together. Emotions swelled in Jake's chest as he took a step back to soak it all in. He was no longer the boy with empty hands. Suddenly, he was the young man with a community behind him, their intertwined dreams glowing in unison, ready to take on whatever came next. Jake beamed, feeling a full heart, surrounded by those he loved, and joy swelling with each passing moment. They had taken a leap of faith together, and now they were flying. Now, let us not let this moment pass by. If you felt that spark of hope just like Jake, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support, because your reactions matter. Comment below with how this ending made you feel and what you think of Jake's journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation in action. Your support helps us bring more inspirational stories to life.